Okay, it's Roger once again, Mudfossil University, and today we're going to be examining closely what Mudfossil University claims is a cyborg. And I will show you the evidence to back that up, and it's involved right here. Now, what I'm talking about is this type of a foot structure. Now notice these two bands here. There's literally plates of steel under here. Notice the heel bone here and the strap coming up. You see the heel bone and the strap coming up. Well, this is a human heel and this is the cyborg heel. Now, instead of going to these bones to go to the toes, this has a set of torsion springs, and then the toes sit way out here. And that the toes here and Tish Egerton. Let me explain something here. Tish Egerton is a mineral dealer, a fossil dealer, and she understands these kind of things, but didn't have any clue about mud fossils, and very, very few people do. It's totally unknown at this point. And 5 years ago, I've been doing mud fossils for quite a long time, but 5 years ago or so, I really got started into doing all the DNA tests and the CAT scans and, you know, anatomists and all that business. And this is totally 100% absolutely certified in every single possible way. Every single chemistry recreated it, the whole ball of wax. Now, this is what I call a no-toe, because this is exactly what the guy's foot looked like. Now, right over here, this is what's called a fibula. You have two bones in your foot. The big one is the tibia, and then you have a fibula that sits on the side, which lets you, sort of articulate your foot. And that has really no attachment, falls right off. And every single one, see, same thing here. Now, this is the way these things come, but instead of having the bones, they have the torsion springs. And I'm going to show you they have plates and pins and it's just literal cyborg. And let's go in a little deeper, and I will show you what I'm talking about. All right, I told you about the pad on the bottom. It's right here. Look at this. It's a wing nut. I don't know if you know what a wing nut looks like, but that's a wing nut. There's the shaft in the middle. I mean, I don't know what else to say. If you don't see that, I don't know what I can say. That's what I see. Anyway, this is the no-toes, and she has, these are the eroded ones. Now, she's got like a family, and she has tools, and she has the bones, and she has all kinds of things, actually some organs that have, because that's what happens with mud fossils. The soft tissues are well preserved. Bones don't do so well. It's because of it's a bonding and breaking down of things, and anyway, it's well understood now, and it's been recreated in the lab and so forth. But what she has is eroded ones, and these were in, I think, more of an acid area, where mine, the ones you saw that were all brown, were in a more neutral, so where they didn't get any kind of bleaching out of them. But anyway, you see the toes are missing here. What happens in these no-toes, they don't really go anywhere. They just sort of sit in the front with little suction cups. I'm serious. It's very strange. And you can see, well, this would have been completely encased, and they've just started to erode here. You see, that's what's going on. Now, this is the underneath. This is the pads. The springs bolt right onto here, and this is where the pad, it eroded away from it, but it's all bloody and red in here. And you could see this is very, 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 it's almost like it's machined, and then they threw some organic stuff on there, so I grow out, and then as soon as you grow up, go out and start living. I don't know what else to say. That's what I'm seeing. This is ferrous oxides. These are loaded with iron. Wait a minute. I want to show you something. Wait, see this. All right, look at this. I mean, this is just unbelievable. This is one of her eroded feet, and that's where the calcaneal bone is in the back. Your heel bone. There's the two bars. There's the two metal bars that you saw up above. They wiggled around like this. I don't know what to say. I mean, it looks like it to me. I haven't held these in my hands. She's out in Missouri. I'm here in Connecticut. I found mine in Connecticut. She found hers in Missouri, and well, they're coming in from all over the world now. Like I say, I've been posting about this for 6 months or so, and doing some, you know, pretty serious, the best investigation we can do. Let me put it that way, which is limited. And that's what we'd like to do, is have somebody investigate this. This has something to do with us. These are hominids. This is not something silly. All right, let's get into the cyborgness of the cyborg here. You saw the heel bone of a human, and it's a heel like that, and then it has the calcaneal tendon, or whatever they call it, coming up like this to hold on to that bone. Now, instead of that, it's got all kind of bones. Well, that's what is totally different here. This is what's called a torsion spring. Now, the toes come out to the front in that direction. When you step on those toes, you're going to hit it, they're going to come up this way. That spins this spring and opens it up. And this is the gummite. You see that? That's a sponge material between this spring and that. And you see that exact spot? It's a different color than this and that. This is the, and it's bulged right here. That is the actual bumper. As that came up, that is the spot that would engage. And that is going to be the bumper supported by that and that. Okay? As that comes up. So that does that. Now, as it goes further up, you can see there are actual linkages. You see that? And you see up here? Those are actual linkages, it looks like to me, between this assembly in the front and the second assembly. So this one comes up. As it comes up, it begins to pull this forward. This begins to pull forward because it's linked to that. This pushes up because it's, so now you have this one contorting. So now you've loaded this one to come back down, and this one loads this one to come back down. So here they are walking, and it would fluidly flow, it looks like to me. Certainly not as well as ours, probably, but not too bad looking to me. And of course you have these pins here. There's a pin back here, and there's all kinds of things going. It looks like the Antikythera machine or something. But on top of here, you can see the skin, and on here, the bottom, you can see it's like cornified matter, and it's like healy, bony-ish looking stuff. But I'm seeing. I mean, I don't. You see that? These are linkages. This is constructed, as far as I'm concerned. And then there is like this is above the arch, and below that wing nut held on an arch. This is completely eroded. But she's got like a family here. I know she's got several feet. She's got bones, hip bones. She's got flint tools, and it's an undisturbed site. This will never be seen again, I don't think. Well, I don't know. It might be seen everywhere because we're finding them everywhere. But this one here is worthy of extreme scrutiny, and quickly. Right now it's sealed off, and no one knows where it is, I don't think. But you see this? This wasn't rusted out like this when she first got it. It was nice. It was articulated. It's starting to deteriorate. They fall apart. That's what happens. I'm going to show you something that Gary Evans found out in England. And I'll show you how quickly these things deteriorate. All right, this is a rock that Gary Evans found over there in England in a mud flat. All right, this happened a day or so after he got it back out of the mud. It started to dry out. This is when it broke wide open right into the substance of the lung, and you can see the blood vessels and everything will maintain, because that's their natural proclivity, is to stay wet. Once they get dry, that's it. They deteriorate and they're gone. So they look in the dry places. They're never going to find what, you know, this magnificent preservation. You see that? That's after only a couple of weeks. That was that beautiful, fresh, preserved-looking lung. This is what's going to happen to all the stuff that we're finding. All right, now this is my site, Mudfossils Original Research Group, up on Facebook. And I also have Mudfossil University on YouTube. Now, Tish will likely open up a site for just the no-toe research. That's what I'm hoping. I'm not sure that'll happen, but that's what we're thinking about. Now, this site here has all of the research on mud fossils, because these are mud fossils, and I have a ton of different mud fossils, and they are exceptional, perfect, preserved, soft tissues of extremely strange creatures. Alright, here's where it gets really strange. That's Tish's no-toe with the wing nut on the bottom. These are all no-toes, and they are all giants. And these specific ones here are in Australia. This is in California. Tish's were in Missouri. Mine are in New England. Now, these feet, and you see the stones along with the feet, those are the body parts from this creature. You don't see the rest of the stuff around here. There's no other rocks. That's what this is. Same thing here. You see the red bones? I believe that Australia specifically did not have a lot of vegetation and a lot of things happening, because these are right on the surface. So the whole idea of mud fossils is that they happened during the Great Flood. And it's if you want to argue that, fine. But it says in everywhere in the world there was a great flood, and my feeling is that these creatures, they were supposed to be giants, and God said he was going to drown them, and he did. They were standing up, and they drowned with their feet stuck in the mud or on the bottom and floating. And as they did that, they started to stabilize, because the transition metals in the blood stops transitioning, and it has to become stable. And that's what happens. It starts to get stabilized with the water that's in the flood. So they're standing up in the flood, drowned, probably stuck with their feet somewhat stuck in the mud. They partially mineralized standing up when the waters went away. However that happened, I don't have all the answers. But however that happened, they fell over, and the pieces mineralized. And the reason the pieces mineralized separately is because of fascia. Fascia is a coating that coats literally every single cell in your body, every single muscle fiber, every single tendon, every single bone. All right, everything that is in your body is separated from everything else by fascia. That's why they all mineralize on their own. Here's a no-toe that came out of California. You can see the pads are underneath the bottom. I'm going to show you another one that is a no-toe standing there with all the pads here and the toes missing. That's what happens to no-toes. Okay, there's a little better close-up. You can see there's the pad. That's the gummite. And above that is the heavily, this is his skin. That's literally his skin. That's the calcaneus heel. And here's the tip of his toe, and that extreme arch. And there's going to be that same spring assembly in there. And all these rocks are his bones and body parts and organs and everything. All right, here's what happens. See these? These are those gummite pads. And they support each toe. But this one here looks like it's in the transition between no toe to our toes. You see this, a toe. You see that right there? That's a toe. You see this? That's coming down from that spring assembly. This is very strange. And these other ones, they just pop right off, the toes. So this would have come out here, and the toes would have been sitting on here. And it looks like they eroded off, or I'm not sure whether this was, but this is not as blocky as normal. This is that pad that goes underneath, the gummite pad, and it's eroding off. And that's where the tibia would be in the back, and that's what they are. All right, that's gummite, and that's just the gooey, gummy stuff that's within. And Tish's feet have a very similar texture to that. All right, here's a toe that fell off, and there's that gummy uranite. That's that stuff. And this is actually the toe that's in here. All right, they just fall right off, though. And that's the skin that we saw on all the other ones that have that skin-looking stuff, but that's the uranite that is the gummite.